We are live.
Yay.
That's so cool. Okay. Everyone, welcome we're going to have a conversation about hair. Hey, Lisa. Hello, Erasmus. We are going to have a conversation today about hair and hairstyles as we age and also with weight loss. And with me is the woman who has been my stylist for at least 10 years. Heather Lenore is an Atlanta based stylist. She's been styling hair for 20 years. She's been a salon owner. She's now a proprietress. She's starting a line of care products for men and women. So she just told me about this new direction she's headed. Spoonful of Style, welcome in. I appreciate you coming today. So Heather, we were just talking before, and like she was really excited about a particular theme. But let's start about with I think there's like this stereotype or like this thought in our society that once you hit a certain age as a woman that you have to cut your hair short or you're not supposed to wear your hair long. And I want
Yeah,
to start there because you and I in
yeah,
our relationship have totally defied that.
yeah,
And
yeah.
I'd love to hear more about your approach and your philosophy about that.
Okay, so hi everybody. Thank you for welcoming me. I am Heather Lenore. And on Instagram I am Fro Freak because I freak froze. But the very first thing I like for people to know is you can give yourself permission to rewrite the narrative. That is number one. And I always tell people that I love being a hairstylist because I help people speak without speaking. So, the very first thing when talking about style, and somebody is in my chair, and I would hope, Sean, you can attest to this. I want to know what you want to say.
Yeah.
What what do you want to say? And a lot of people, I think they don't approach hair from that standpoint. You have a feeling. You're like, well, I want something here. But you are actually trying to communicate something about your confidence. You're trying to say something to yourself about your confidence. Even nature is using hair to communicate from us to the world. That gray little halo, that's nature saying this person is in this age group. We
Mhm.
didn't ask her to say that, but she is saying. So she is saying it. So what I'm saying is that when we get into a certain season, however people identify old, I personally do not identify old. I identify wise. I identify and appreciate years. But
Mhm.
old is something that is outdated. Old is someone or something that has peaked at its standard. Old no longer matters. It's something that happened yesterday and now you're outdated. Something new is coming. But if you are alive and you are a woman, you are not outdated. Your best days are ahead of you so long as you're willing to rewrite the narrative.
Yes.
And you feel me? You know what I mean? Like you can rewrite that narrative. So, in regards to longer hair, it is not a rule per se. It is what do you want to say while also trying not to be too hot because that also matters. You know, what I have found, because I actually like long hair can make us feel youthful. If, as a woman, long hair can also make us feel very sexy, to move that hair off of your shoulders. But how to do that with a woman who has seasons ahead of her and behind her?
Mhm.
Meaning, what does she do when that hair is long, but she's hot?
Mhm.
Or if it's thinning, which we'll touch on a little later, how to pull off that hair and communicate what it is you're trying to say. So, no, just because you are older or have more seasons does not mean you cannot have long hair. Long hair is not a young woman's game. Nothing is a young woman's game. Everything is a woman's game. As long as you know what to do and how you want to play it, play the game. You
I
can
love
pull
it.
the hair to the side, wear long, nice, long gray and salt and pepper braid to the side with little wispies around your hair. That's very flirty and it makes us feel youthful. And that's not a pretend. To feel
Mhm.
youthful is to feel anew. It's
I
to
love
feel anew.
that.
Yeah. It's
I
to
love
feel
that.
anew. And as long as you have a new day, you have the right to feel anew.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I love how you I think that in society, we tend to think of older women as less desirable, but
Right.
the way that you're approaching hair, and I think the whole idea of you have to cut your hair, you have to go short when you're over 40 or 50 or whatever is part of that. And I love this statement of reclaiming and starting with what do you want to say? And like if you want to embody, being sexy, do it.
Right. Right. And redefine what sexy was. Sexy for me right now at 50 is
Mhm.
very different than what sexy was for me at 24. I always wore a heel. When I was 24, I thought I would wear a heel until I'm like, I'm gonna be 80 years old in a heel. Well, no, I'm not. No, I'm not gonna be 80 years old in
Look,
a
I
heel.
got my
But
flats.
I will wear a very sexy flat. I
Uh-huh.
wear a heelette, a lovely mule with a flowy dress, something
Mhm.
off the shoulder. I mean, we have so much to give. Sexy is about your imagination, not about your age.
Mm, that's good. That's
Yeah.
very hello for everybody coming in. Heather, so let's talk about some of the issues that we face as we age, and then we'll also talk about hair loss and hair changes after significant weight loss. So that'll come later. But let's start with kind of where we are now. Because as we age, like as you mentioned, I've got like a little halo going on. And then, other people experience other hair changes as they age, thinning, and other, texture changes, things like that. Can you talk about how do we say what we want to say with our hair and still work with what we've got, what nature has given us in the time and season that we're in?
Yeah, absolutely. And I want to go in that first with saying no punishment. No punishment. We punish ourselves for needing tools. We punish ourselves for needing a little makeup to do a little contouring. We punish ourselves for needing to back comb our hair to get a little bit of fullness. The point is not punishment. The point is what do you want to say? And so we will punish our hair for going gray. We'll punish our hair because we have different textures. There's no need for punishment. Get tools, not punish, tools. Don't beat yourself up. Don't get down on yourself. Don't think, oh God, I'm old. Look at this horrible gray hair. If you don't want the gray hair, color it. Or you can embrace it if that's the journey you want. The communication is up to you. I would like to first address the gray since we're talking about it. Gray hair can be very much on trend. There's so much online with women really embracing their salt and pepper. Now, this salt and pepper hair, gray hair tends to be drier
Mhm.
and more coarse, right? That's where your tools come in. We don't need to attack our gray hair and say that it represents the worst part of us. What we can say is, this is nature. Nature doesn't know that I have Clairol as a color option, but it is a tool. Nature does not take into consideration a master colorist or a master stylist. Doesn't take that into consideration. So there's no reason to attack yourself for nature doing what nature does. So first I want to say is figure out what you want to communicate. Do you want to grow the gray in? Try it. See how you feel about it. Don't like it. I have a lot of clients who's like, I thought I was going to do it and I ain't here for it. Fine. This is your life and this is your beauty and your communication. You can change your mind. So if you want to color that hair, color it. If you want to embrace your gray, embrace it. Now, just because you are embracing your gray does not mean no color. color, a lot of people do not realize, can actually be a conditioning agent.
Hmm.
That dry, coarse, gray hair, you can have our stylist put a clear gloss color on your hair. It will make it vibrant. It won't pigment the gray, but it will coat it and make it vibrant. And that clear coat will go over the pigmented hair as well. So now you don't have this old colored hair and then this raspy gray hair that you feel like you have to wait 5 years until you can feel beautiful again. No, we can address it right now in modern society.
And that's and when you're talking about different texture changes, just to be clear, is that true for people in all ethnicities, or is
Yeah.
it different between? Okay.
Yes, on the ethnicities, the texture is the matter of the absence of pigment.
Okay.
Now, coarseness, that varies based off of where you are ethnically or racially or genetically. However, gray is the absence or the removal of pigment just causes the hair to be drier. I don't care what race, creed, or color you are. When you began to get that gray hair growing in, you're like, this is drier. It feels a little bit more raspy. A clear coat color could be a first defense against that. Coating the hair, softening the hair, adding a shine to that gray hair, and you're growing out color hair. That clear coat color can be the bridge that brightens your hair up. The next thing is deep conditioning your hair,
Hmm.
pampering your hair. And that's not something separate. Some people are so annoyed with our hair. And I think it's because it's something that we can change so readily. But let's see what you can embrace. Because after a certain age, I feel that's where the real joy is looking at what you got and say, this is it. This is what I have. And I'm going to start embracing it and growing from there. So deep conditioning to get that kind of brass, that feel off of it and really condition that hair. And oils, depending on texture, but we could get into that later.
Okay.
And then that clear coat color can really do a lot. Now, if you're not trying to keep that gray and you're like, I hear you, I'm trying to color this thing, color it. Color it. You have that right. You have every right to look on the outside, how you feel on the inside, and that journey is yours.
That's beautiful. I hope all of y'all watching can see why I love sitting in Heather's chair because I get this like vibe, this positive vibe and encouragement every time.
And I miss
Let's
you so much. Oh,
of course.
sorry, I dropped my phone.
Oh, no worries, no worries. We're all good.
Yeah.
Hello, Chantel and Lalisa. Welcome in. So I want to also talk about some other issues that people have. I want to number one, let's talk about what to do when your hair thins, and then after that, I'd like to talk about because our faces change as we age,
Yeah.
and so let's touch on those two things too.
So, thinning. All right. So let's talk about that. So thinning can be caused by hair trauma.
Uh huh.
It can be genetic, or it could be nutrition. All right. I know largely we were going to talk about the, weight loss.
Yeah.
The major side effect for weight loss that most people don't like is the thinning of the hair, and that's usually due to nutrition.
Yes. That
Hair
can
is
and then yeah, and then that just to drop this note in, there are studies showing that people who are taking the popular weight loss drugs like, Ozempic and
Mhm.
Wegovy and, the GLP-1s, are experiencing hair loss. It's still being researched, but there's a lot of anecdotal accounts of people experiencing hair loss. And then I had weight loss surgery. I did not lose my hair, but 60% of people who have weight loss surgery experience hair loss within a couple of months. It's temporary, but it's like complete, and it's called telophyllium.
Yeah,
So
telogenetic,
yeah, effluvium.
telophorian genetic hair alopecia. It's a
Yes,
telophorian
yes,
genetic
basically,
alopecia.
and it's
Basically,
temporary.
yeah.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
there's a range of weight loss related weight loss related hair loss and how it happens and what causes it. Okay, so I interrupted you. Go ahead.
No, you're fine. That's perfect, actually. So the number one thing that most people sit in a stylist chair and say, how can I make my hair grow? How can I stop my hair from falling? Um, One, if it's genetic, it's genetic. You know what I mean? The best thing to do is, and we're going to get into that, styling options, extension options. If it is due to nutrition, perfect, because that's temporary. I would suggest getting ahead of the game, especially if you're someone that knows that you're going to go through weight loss surgery. If it's nutrition based, which really is nourishing, like your vitamins. Start taking your vitamins in advance. Boost that yourself up. Boost your immune system up. Boost that iron up. Get your vitamin D, your fish oil, biotin. That is a real thing. People are always talking about biotin. That matters. So that's to get that back into your body. Now, what to do once it starts coming out? The number one rule is a cut. The longer the hair is, the thinner it looks. And again, like I said, sometimes you have to speak the language in the room. What are you trying to say?
Hmm.
Some of us, it's like, I want my hair to be exactly the way it was before. We have to deal with what we are dealing with right now so that you can move forward and communicate the way you want to communicate. You may be, once that nutrition is in your system, once your weight starts to stable, that hair may come right back. But that might take 6 months to a year, maybe even 2 years.
Hmm.
Are you not going to communicate the look that you're really wanting for 2 years? No, that affects how you feel about yourself. And that will cause a whole nother type of stress. Let's address the conversation we can have right now.
Yeah.
So, you understand what I'm saying? And a lot of styles can help get you there. And yes, it does depend on your work environment. Your hairstyle options do depend on your texture and your genetics. Let's say you have straight hair and your hair is very thin. I say come up to your jawline. Come up to your jawline. If you don't want to come up to your jawline, think phrase, think shag.
Mm,
Yeah. Cut
that's cool.
close to the face, something that cuts the neck, feather cuts here. That accentuates the movement. It moves the eye around, even your eye, which is the major thing as we are looking in the mirror and we're like, look at this, look at this. It's the same hairstyle with a different amount of hair. Yeah, it's going to drive you crazy. And that's not the point of looking at yourself every day. You are the one that's going to set your tone.
Yeah.
So you're the one who has to love the person in the mirror first. Cut that hair. Cut it. Give yourself a very sexy cut that feathers towards the face and moves. If you don't want to do it that way, then use styling. Get that volume. Get a roller set if your hair can hold, if you have enough texture to where your hair can hold rollers, you know, get that
Mhm.
so that you can have that movement so that you aren't obsessing in the meantime about whether or not that hair has grown in. Okay. So if your hair is straight and it's thin, cut it up to the chin or at least mid neck. If you don't want to go this high up, it depends on what you have going on, and we can get into that.
Uh-huh.
But at least off of the shoulder and closer to the chin, if you have straight, thinning hair. You also can consider bangs. A lot of times people
Mm.
start to thin here.
Uh-huh.
If you're thin here, but you have enough fullness here, comb it forward, get a fringe bang, cup that face. Make it so that you're not even paying attention to it. So you're not talking and saying, are they hearing what I'm saying or are they paying attention to the communication of the hair? You
Yeah.
can give yourself permission to move that around. And color. Color, sometimes we are so used to, like me with the heels. Some women have been blonde their whole life. As you get older, or if something happens and you have thinning hair, the lighter your hair, the thinner it looks. So
Right.
So transitioning out of that blonde, you may not be a blonde. You may be a blonde with a dirty root. Because that might need to be new. That might need to be the new conversation. Darken that root up. It'll give the illusion of thicker hair. And a lot of what we're seeing is just play of light. And so just playing with that light and finding what works with you for you relieves you of that anxiety of, am I looking the best I'm trying to communicate? And then lastly, wigs, weaves, and extensions. They are all options. There are a million different kinds. There are some that can cause more thinning, depending on the technique. You have to vet your stylist.
Okay.
You have to vet your stylist. You want to pay attention to the condition of your follicle, because if the follicle is damaged and that hair, because a healthy scalp produces a healthy strand of hair.
Uh-huh.
If the follicle is letting that hair strand go, the last thing you want is a bunch of movement to try and get that hair that's going to fall out more often, or tight or taut styles that's going to pull that hair out of the follicle. That does not mean don't comb your hair. I've
Right.
had clients that have said, well, I'm trying not to manipulate my hair because I've had hair fall. That's not what that means. What that means is make sure that your hair is properly um, nurtured. Make sure that it has enough moisture. Make sure that your hair is hydrated. And that's just touching it. If you touch your hair and it had like, your hair should have some spring to it. Like hair that has like a decent amount of moisture and hydration in it, it should have a bit of spring. And that's how you know what's really going on. This is without you going to a doctor or going to a hairstylist. Just touch it and do so with grace. Don't touch your hair with judgment. Touch your hair like, oh, okay, this is going on. All right. And now you can say, okay, I might need this or I might
Yeah.
need that. That's first. And then you can start babying your hair back. Like even with you, we've cut your hair very short. We've grown it out to a large afro, and we've done so with a great deal of care. Your hair has been with you since birth. It is one of your best friends. Be very gentle with her.
I really appreciate your talking about like you being the first person to want to love your hair and to think about where you're coming from. I see so many women who have gone through extreme weight loss
Mhm.
and they see the hair falling out and they're just watching the hair come out sometimes in handfuls, and
Yeah.
it's this extended period of trauma because they want to be who they were or have the hairstyle that they used to have. And it is a traumatic experience, even if you know going forward, at the beginning, it might happen and that it's going to be temporary. It's still
Right.
traumatic to watch. And I think that keeps you from thinking about what do I want to do now? Like, this is the reality. What do I want to do now? And I think, hi, Victoria, welcome in. Also, hello to Cheryl. But I think, like, right before I had surgery, I went to you and I was like, "Okay, if it falls out, we're gonna cut it all off." Like, I just didn't want to go through that trauma,
Right.
and I really kinda wanted to own what was happening to my hair if it happened instead of letting the trauma own me.
Right.
So I really appreciate
What
your
is that like
giving.
big
Huh?
spider?
Oh, no worries.
No, it's fucking good one.
But I really appreciate you giving people ways to be proactive and to think about, let me see what's going on and what can I do to work with it?
What I would like to do, so I'm gonna take a half a second to give a little bit extra of a backstory because you know that I've had cancer.
Uh-huh.
So I understand hair trauma, and I want people to know that when I give advice about embracing your hair, it is not coming from someone who does not understand hair trauma. I sit here with a head full of hair, yes, and my hair is very thick. However, I had 8 rounds of chemo when I had stage 4 non-Hodgkin's lymphoma that they found at stage 4. And so and so I learned very quickly and I was a hairstylist at that time. In fact, the very first wig I ever made, I made for myself. And all of my hair came out. All of my hair came out. And when it started, it was here, it was over my shoulder. And I cut my hair myself into a mohawk.
Mhm.
And everybody was like, "Oh, Heather, you have, you're such a free spirit. I could just see you going around the city with your bald head." Nuh-uh. No, I didn't want to walk. No, no, I didn't want to walk around the city with a bald head. I didn't want to do that. No, that wasn't my goal. That wasn't my story. I didn't want to tell that
Uh-huh.
story. So I understand when the person you are looking at does not match the communication that you're trying to give. And that's why I learned then that I could give myself permission to communicate what I wanted to say. You know, I I made my first wig for myself because I mean, I don't know of anybody who's ever gone through that journey. I know why my hair is all over the place. There we go. Um
Don't worry.
Thanks. It's traumatizing. You look at yourself as a woman and you have a narrative of who you are. And that's the next thing I wanted to move into is
Mhm.
to giving yourself permission to change your narrative.
Let's talk about
Sometimes,
that.
let's talk about that. Sometimes the story you told yourself before no longer matches the book you are writing for tomorrow.
Mm.
And so when you change the character, sometimes you have to change the look. And it was time for me to change the look of that character. I'd never worn wigs before. I thought wigs were for grandmothers. Everybody's going to know my hair fell out. There's some really amazing wigs, first of all. Second of all, you find one that fits the language that you want to speak. If it's too thick, thin it out. Have someone thin it out. Have one custom made.
Okay.
Do it. Yeah, you can customize your units. People think that the wig that they get off the shelf is the only thing they can do. No. A proper stylist that works with wigs can thin out that wig. And you don't have to, just because you want or need to wear a wig, doesn't mean you got to look like Diana Ross. You don't have to look like, and that's, I say that to say because that's a lot of the complaints that I get about wigs is like, Heather, my hair is coming out by, like you said, by the clumps. I don't want to look like a grandmother in a wig. Don't. Don't.
Right.
That's not the language you're trying to communicate. Get it thinned out. Get it cut. Get it cut to your style. A wig may be here, but the most ideal may be here. Have an A-line cut. Frame your face. Have it colored. You know, make it yours and give yourself permission to get that done. So yeah, what you're saying, we're going into rewriting narratives.
That's awesome. I really
Yeah.
appreciate that. And
Yeah.
we've done that. Like, I think, like, when I first came to you, I had my hair processed and straightened
Yeah.
because I was in corporate America, and I felt like that's what I needed to do to succeed in corporate America. And then once COVID happened, I was like, "You know what?"
Growing this flow out.
Yeah, I wanna and then we've done that, with different, just, events and things that I wanted to say, like there are times when I wanted to be conservative, there are times I wanted to be bold, and I really appreciate you flowing with that and encouraging people here to do the same. If anybody who's watching has a question, please feel free to drop that in the chat. We're probably
Oh
gonna
yeah.
be here another few minutes. One of the other things that I wanted to talk about, and this is like the title of the whole thing, so I think we should touch on it, is hairstyles as our face changes because
Yeah.
like, certainly with weight loss, I mean, you've seen my face be very round and now it's thin. But then also as we age, like we lose fat pads and, our cheeks hollow. Sometimes like you can have hollowing up here around your temples. Some people, the jawline becomes softer or the jaw like grows in different ways. So as we age, hello, Jane, welcome in. Hello, Victoria. So I was wondering if you could talk about, because I mean, there's some people like my mother wore the same hairstyle her entire life, like
Right.
and so like I'm like, and I think like our hairstyle is part of our identity. And so I'm wondering like if you can talk about, should we, as we start to notice changes in our face shape, should we think about, is that a good time to think about changing our
Yeah.
hairstyle and like what, what's appropriate for those different changes?
Yeah. So the best thing about this conversation for me is that we preset with everything else that we said up to this point,
Mhm.
which is the main things are giving yourself permission, um, rewriting your narrative. That leads us right to this point of, okay, now I'm getting older. I've lost weight. My face now looks different. Now is the time you change your narrative. That's when you plug that play because you have changed.
Mhm.
You've changed by taking control of your weight. That comes with side effects. Every single change comes with a side effect, good or bad. Sometimes you have to make the decision the better decision. And so I think like I also have lost weight before I've gained weight. I've lost weight. And so we have this idea in our heads of I'm going to lose this weight and I'm going to look the way I have envisioned myself this whole time. And then this body change has now had a side effect change that I did not expect, i.e., loss of fat here,
Mhm.
here. Especially if you've had weight, the one compliment I know that as a stylist and a lot of women I know, oh, you have such a full, beautiful face. It's so very youthful. Oh, you look like a baby. And then you're going, yeah, well, I've lost this weight and I'm liking the way the body look, but where's my cute baby face?
Mhm.
Now everything is coming down here and I'm older. I'm don't like this. I like this. I don't like this. What can I do? Hair is an amazing tool. It is there for you to communicate. It's there to communicate with you. You can look at your hair and it can say what's going on with your mind and body. Like, hey, maybe I'm stressed, but it is also there for you to communicate. So it's yours to control. You have to give yourself permission to change your look if you need it. And you know you need it if you're looking and you don't like what you see, then you need it. So what do you do? Something even like this, especially within, this is a perfect, actually, this is an ideal style for someone who has lost some weight in the face and has thinning, because these are two things that we're dealing with here.
Mhm.
One, if you lost fat here, use that volume. I parted my hair from here and brought it all the way up here. A lot of people think that can be, kind of old or outdated, but no, you can put curls in it. What this does is it brings all of the hair forward here.
Uh-huh.
It almost I have a flat forehead. So I'm not one of those women who look good in a solid bang. However, what I can do is I can bring all my hair to the front, move it to the side, create a bang, and now all of this here, you can see none of this. You can see none of this. So if
Yeah.
I had some loss of fat pads here on my corners, now and it's very flirty. So
Yeah.
now I'm not as worried. I'm not even in my head about, well, are they seeing that I've lost weight here and that? No, no, this is in my face. It comes forward here if I had thinning, which can happen a lot of times here at the temples here. And this is not even due to I have a very healthy hairline. However, the one thing that we play with from birth is our hairline. You get a newborn baby, everybody's combing the newborn baby's hairline. Oh, that precious little baby, look at that
That's
thing.
the
You,
truth.
you get to be 2 years old, you're brushing it back, it's a ponytail. You know, you're messing with the hair your whole life. And then we get to be 50 or 55, moving towards 60 in our 60s. And we're like, what's going on with our hairline? We've been messing with it since birth. It's fine. Bring the hair to the front, move it around. You can have a cascade. This is a braid in the back.
Uh-huh.
This is so that, yeah, this braid is so that the hair is off of my neck. I'm premenopausal. So
Mhm.
I get very hot, but I
Mhm.
also, going back to the length, I also like having some length. So I can have like the camera's backwards. So I can play with the length here
Uh-huh.
by having some hair close to your neck elongates your neck. But when the face and everything is starting to come here, all style says go up. Well,
Uh-huh.
what if you want to go up, but you also want, a little something? Well,
Mhm.
this is how you can do it. You can have this hair up, give you that volume. That's going to bring the eye up. And so now you're looking at yourself horizontally, but you also have all of these things going on. So you're not as worried about whether or not the face is sagging or the neck, because you have this here. It moves the eye around. When
Yeah.
you have those solid same styles, but the face and the neck is doing something different. Now it's not cohesive. So that's when, and if you're struggling, which is what happens a lot of times, if you are struggling with, but this has been my look, that's when you start doing self narrative work, all of the other stuff
Mhm.
we were talking about. That's
Yeah.
when you talk about, what do I want to say right now? Can I give myself permission to say it? What does that look like? And now you can start being like, all right, well, let's see. Let's start talking about some haircuts or some extensions. There are, like I said, there are tape ends, there are micro lanes, there are sew ends, depending on the texture. But there are extensions for every hair texture and type out there. Extensions are also an amazing way to add color to your hair. A lot of people who experience hair trauma, they want to change their look with a cut or color, but they're like, Heather, first of all, it's fine already. I'm terrified to color.
Mhm.
I'm afraid to put the chemical on my hair.
Uh-huh.
And I wouldn't mind cutting it, but if I hate it, it took so long for it to grow out.
Mm.
Extensions, extensions, extensions. Extensions. You
Gotcha.
can get extensions. You can get extensions to color the hair. You can put the extensions in to cut it and see if you like it. And you take them out and you're back. If being where you were is more comfortable than where you're going, then that is where you should be. Don't traumatize yourself. Try to be something different.
Yeah.
But don't hold yourself back because you're afraid to be something new. But you're going through changes anyway. You are already someone new. Once you have lost the weight, once you have earned the privilege of skin that has softened,
Mhm.
on-
I like the way you put that.
once you have done that, then you are already in the midst of changing, but you might like that pace, and that is for you. That is for you. Oftentimes we re traumatize ourselves trying to move in a way that doesn't fit who we are. And that's why I'm saying I'm glad we had the other conversation first, because you can then determine who you are now, right now, and what you want to say. And then you can use these tools, i.e., clear color for your gray if you want to embrace it, haircuts for thinning hair if you can feel yourself with that, you know, going a little darker with your hair color. Sometimes people they're connected to a certain hair color because that's their youth. I've always been a blonde. Well, what's the real conversation here? Is the real conversation I'm youthful and playful, and not necessarily that the real conversation is that you are a natural blonde? There are so many ways to become youthful and playful with your hair. It is there for you to play with. Nature gave it to us. So you might be able to actually get closer to the goal by not doing what you were doing before, by doing that change, by changing the color. And now you actually look more youthful and more playful just by going a little darker. And giving yourself permission to step out there and try that will always serve you. I-
I love this conversation. And I feel like the core of it has been really thinking about what you want to communicate and giving yourself permission to explore and change and finding a relationship with a good stylist who can help you do that. which is why I love you because I got this every time I went to the salon. It was so awesome. Um, it is a quarter till, and I don't wanna take up more of your time. I do wanna give people an opportunity, if you have
No,
any
no, no,
questions,
no
to
time.
drop those. Oh, cool, cool,
Yeah,
cool.
I
I
have time.
wanna
I'm
give
good.
people
Yeah.
an opportunity to drop any questions that you might have, in the chat. We've covered talking about age-related changes, trauma-related changes, weight loss-related changes, and really just empowering yourself to embrace where you are now and like just living your life that way and think about what you want to say and communicating that through hair. This has been such a great conversation. I want to do another one soon.
Yeah, let's,
That's
because it's so
awesome.
much to say. But yeah, I'm open. Any questions, I'm here for it.
Okay. Uh, well, we have a good audience today too. Thank you all for joining us. And I also want to acknowledge like a lot of everything that Heather's been talking about applies to people of any ethnicity. So don't
Right.
feel like, we plan to make this as inclusive as possible so that you have, you know, empowerment statements and encouragement as well as practical tips that you can use no matter your ethnicity or your hair texture. Thank you all for being here and thank you Heather for your advice. I really appreciate it. We're definitely going to have to do this again. This has been a great
Yeah,
combo. This is
yeah.
really I feel good. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining. And I'm starting to do these live conversations like every other week. We'll have something else coming up in another couple of weeks.
Yeah,
Awesome.
yeah.
Heather, thank you so much for being with me.
You're welcome. You're welcome. Yeah, this was fun. It went by so fast.
It did, but it was so good.
Yeah, I did want to say this one thing. Because hair trauma is global. It affects everybody, like you said, regardless of race, creed, color, sex, how you identify, whatever group you are in. We are united in hair trauma. And that is one of the reasons why I wanted to say, be mindful of your right to communicate with your hair, because whether or not we are traumatized by our hair it's so much deeper than just hair fall or thinning or gray. Some of us are, still trying to embrace our beauty versus whether or not our hair was thin when we were kids, you know? And so the very right to communicate with our hair oftentimes is involved in our trauma. And so I really wanted to say to all of the people that are watching that the very best thing you can do for your hair care is at its base, fall in love with it. Right where it is. I'm saying wherever you are with your hair today, fall in love with it and talk to your hair like it is a person and say, okay, girl or guy, this is where we are. You're a little thin. I'm not loving the color. And we might need a little bit of a haircut, but I love you. I love you because you are me from the inside out. And that is the fact of it. Your
Yeah.
hair is you from the inside out, and you love it first, then funk it up. So
Yeah.
I just want to make sure that that's the most important thing, because that will guide you in the direction of being in love with who you see in the mirror afterwards.
Yeah. And I can attest, like, you really helped me through that when I was transitioning from processed to natural. I've seen a lot of people say that that has been such a difficult transition, and they don't know what to do with their hair, and it gets really traumatic,
Yeah,
and you were able to show me, I really didn't have that kind of trauma, like, I fell in love with my hair, and
yeah,
I have not worn my hair natural since I was, like, maybe 8.
yeah,
And I think we started doing this right after COVID, so I was, like, right in my early 50s, and, like, I love my I, like, fell in love with how flexible it is, how many different things I could do with it, like all I felt like it was a 3D sculpting material and we could do so many
Right.
things. And I
Yeah.
had so much fun exploring that. And it really helps to have, like you were speaking that attitude to me, but if you could even speak that attitude toward yourself, whatever transition you're going through, it makes
Right.
just such a world of difference. It really made a difference to me. Like I love my hair.
Yeah.
And I really appreciate your speaking that into my life and then sharing that attitude with everybody else. So
Wonderful.
thank you.
Yes,
Um,
absolutely.
Thank you all for joining us. There will be a replay that I'll post immediately after this. And we'll do another live with Heather sometime in the future. And then I'm starting to do lives every other week. So there'll be a live in another couple of weeks. And we'll see where it goes. But thank you so much for joining us. If you joined us late and you're interested, please feel free to catch the replay. I'll post that this afternoon.
Yeah. Thank you,
Heather,
guys.
thank
I
you.
appreciate it. This was so fun. Sean, it was a pleasure.
Oh no.
I have got to get a better stand. It's the worst.
Thank you so much. Take care.
Bye.
Bye bye.